Hi you guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if you are new and just coming across this video. Backing up a little bit so you can see, but I'm officially 38 weeks pregnant, which is so crazy to me. If you have been following along my pregnancy journey since I got pregnant, thank you so much. I feel like I have grown so much just over the course of the past 9 months here on YouTube and like all my other platforms too, and I am just so thankful for all of you guys that stick around and watch my content. And yeah, it just means the world to me. And I am so excited to continue sharing my life online as a mom, and yeah, it's just gonna be such a crazy next few weeks. So before I go into labor and do all that, I wanted to film a little Q&A about my 3rd trimester of pregnancy, just kind of recapping that. I also asked you guys over on Instagram, or posted over on Instagram, for you guys to ask questions just about pregnancy in general, literally anything. It could be about 3rd trimester, but anything pregnancy related, and I got a bunch of questions from you guys, so we're gonna go through that too. Yeah, we have a fun drink with us too. This is my little raspberry leaf tea recipe. It's really nothing special. It's literally a raspberry leaf tea, and then I use the raspberry lemonade from like the Simply brand from the grocery store, and I just like mix it together and it's really good. I also am wearing this green top from Elwood and it's super comfy. If you've never bought anything from them, I just got a bunch of stuff in from them and I like cannot say enough good things. It's super good quality and just really comfy, and I really like this green color. So anyway, enough of that, you guys don't even care. So let's get into 3rd trimester things. I just felt like we should sit down and kind of chat through the 3rd trimester, how it's gone. I've done a recap of every trimester so far this pregnancy, and I didn't want to leave you guys hanging and not do a 3rd trimester one, and then I figured by the time baby boy is here and I've gone through birth and all that, like I am gonna want to do a whole video dedicated to that, and y'all aren't even gonna care about the 3rd trimester at that point. So I figured better get it up now beforehand. So yeah, I made a little outline on my phone to make sure I didn't miss any points to go over with you guys. But yes, 3rd trimester started at, I believe 3rd trimester starts at 28 weeks. And so yeah, I really honestly felt so good my whole 2nd trimester. If you want to see how my 2nd trimester went, you can go watch that video. I also did one for my 1st trimester recap, so you can watch that too, so you can really see how all the trimesters of pregnancy went. But I really wanted to like document and talk through exactly like everything I went through and my feelings for every trimester of my very first pregnancy. I'm a first-time mom, so this is like my first time going through all this, and I wanted to just document all of it so that I could look back and really like relive like how I was feeling and like remember the stages of it all. So 3rd trimester has been honestly great. I've honestly loved being pregnant. Like I know a lot of people have miserable pregnancies, they hate being pregnant, they never want to be pregnant again kind of thing, but I have loved my pregnancy. It's been a dream and I can't believe that it's coming to an end. I'm really sad about it. I feel like I can't even imagine not having my baby inside of my body anymore. It's gonna just be such a surreal feeling because I've only known him literally in here. So yeah, it's gonna be crazy, but I've loved being pregnant. I just want to put that out there. I've had a really great pregnancy experience. But yeah, 3rd trimester has been a whirlwind. A lot of people told me 3rd trimester was going to be really hard, and honestly the beginning of it wasn't really that different from 2nd trimester, but as we've neared the end, probably around the like 32-33 week mark, I felt like things were starting to go downhill as far as like my energy levels and my motivation, and just I don't know, my emotions started to get really crazy. And yeah, I just didn't think that it would really hit me like as hard as people say that it does, but it definitely did. And I am like, wow, 3rd trimester has been a roller coaster to say the least. My energy levels, like I said, have been kind of all over the place in the beginning. I was like still full of energy and whatever. 2nd trimester I was super feeling great all the time, and then like I said, around the 32-33 week mark is when I really just started to notice my energy depleting, and I would just be so exhausted by the end of the day every day. Zach and I went to the beach for our baby moon when I was like 33 weeks, and I feel like that was just kind of my last like hurrah, like last ditch like energy of pregnancy. And ever since we got back from that, I've just been like laying low at the house, relaxing, like taking it easy, and just trying to, you know, let my body like rest before it does this huge big labor of love, literally birthing my child. So yeah, I just have noticed energy levels decreased a ton towards the end of third trimester, which is fine. Obviously, you know, I've just been growing a human for the past 9 months, no big deal. But my, you know, body is just like, okay, it's time for us to rest and get ready for this baby. That's kind of been the main difference between second and third trimester, at least for me, that I've noticed, is my energy levels are just a lot lower. It's also been really hard to sleep good because you're like getting so big and you're just like, you can't get comfortable. That doesn't help either when you're not getting good quality sleep at night to be able to like carry you through the day. So that being said, I've also kind of stopped with the workouts. I really feel like I stayed on track with working out pretty much my entire pregnancy, staying really active, everything, going on walks, all of that. But also I have been pregnant, like my biggest part of pregnancy, like literally physically my biggest, in the dead middle of summer, and I live in the South. So it is excruciatingly hot outside, and I'm not going to subject myself to 90-degree weather being pregnant and hot just to get a walk in. So I definitely have been a lot less active this trimester, which I also think could contribute to the fact that I am lower energy because I'm used to being super active and working out every day and that kind of thing. But with how hot it's been, I can't even go work out in like our garage gym or anything. It's just like brutally hot. Like that would obviously not be good for me to be in the heat like that. And then obviously I was working out at Orange Theory all the time, and I just felt like the movements and things were just getting way too intense for me to continue on, and like I was just getting really uncomfortable, and I was like, I don't want to like push myself to just being uncomfortable every time just for the sake of working out. So I kind of stopped working out around 33 weeks. I think when we got back from our baby moon was kind of when I was like, all right, I'm not gonna go back anymore, which is fine. We'll get back into it whenever I am postpartum. But otherwise, I've been trying to eat really, really good, and just, you know, I've been, like I said, staying active my whole pregnancy and all of that. Obviously, it's been really crazy to watch my body change and know that like the purpose of all this is to bring my baby earthside, but I know that it is going to be a rough road of recovery and postpartum. So I'm just trying to like already give myself a lot of grace with that. I'm very thankful I kind of only gained the amount of weight that my OB had set for me to like not gain more than. But you know, everyone's body and everything changes, like everyone's so different with how their body changes throughout pregnancy. So you know, you can't like compare to maybe how someone else's body did with pregnancy and how someone else's recovered and yada yada. So I'm really trying to like not get that in my head and expect myself to like bounce back super quick and all this like right after pregnancy. I just want to give myself grace, give myself time to heal, let my body really recuperate from all that it went through these past 9 months. So that's kind of all on the physical side of things. Mentally and emotionally, the third trimester has been tough. If you watched one of my vlogs several weeks back, I kind of had a full breakdown, crying about how much life is going to change, and it really, you know, is not anything negative. Obviously, I know having a baby is only going to add such joy and sweetness into our lives, but it is still just like the nostalgia of this, like life is never going to be like this again. And that doesn't even go, you know, correlate directly with a baby. Like that can go with any stage of your life. You kind of just are mourning the present because you know things are about to change, whether that's you're getting married or you're graduating college, or it's very similar feelings when you're bringing a baby into the world. You know things are about to change. It's a good change, but things are going to change. And so I definitely battled a little bit with that in the beginning of the third trimester, and then kind of had a change of, you know, mindset, and just really got into the mindset of like how excited I was for what our lives are gonna look like, how excited I am to bring a baby into this world and just have like a physical human representation of our love. I just think that is so cool. So yeah, now I've just been like eagerly and anxiously awaiting baby boy's arrival, and I've just been like so anxious to meet him and to get him here. Definitely have been all over the place with emotions though, and I think that's just natural, especially when your hormones are changing and there's just like so many things going on. Like you're preparing to literally have to take care of a human, and then you're also like so excited about it, but then you're so sad about like your old life never being the same again, but you're so happy about this new life you're gonna have. And it is just such a mix of everything, like every emotion all in one. So give yourself grace in that department too if you're also in your third trimester and experiencing it. Like, you know, your emotions are just going to continue to be all over the place, especially after you give birth. I've just learned that I have to give myself grace in all the changes that I'm experiencing right now, and know that it's totally normal and everyone goes through it. Also wanted to touch on baby movement in the 3rd trimester because I think I talked about it in 1st and 2nd trimester video, but definitely movements have been so different in the 3rd trimester. 1st and 2nd, they're like little boops and kicks, but in the 3rd trimester it is like full-blown movement. So he's like, his entire elbow will go across my stomach, or his feet will stretch out, or I can feel him like roll a little bit or whatever. It's like actual movements, and it is wild, but it is also like the most beautiful thing to experience that. And I definitely know that I'm gonna miss feeling him moving and like all the kicks and rolls and everything like that once he is here. But I just think it is like the coolest thing to experience life like inside of your body. Another thing that was so key 3rd trimester, and I think it actually helped me too, just like emotionally, was to do a 3D ultrasound. And I know a lot of people don't feel like they're worth it, whatever, to each their own. I personally feel like it was so worth it. I literally have his 3D ultrasound framed up in a frame in his nursery. I just thought it was the coolest experience, and my mom came with me because she, you know, she hasn't had a baby since in like 20 something years. So, you know, the technology was so different back then, and so I was so excited for her to come and like experience that and like actually get to see him, because it really does feel like you're like seeing a photo of them in real life. It's like crazy how technology can do that, but I definitely think the 3D ultrasounds are worth it. Zach, I think, even felt more connected to him after that. I did too. Just like getting to actually visually see them in an ultrasound, like, I don't know, it's just so crazy. And it's so different than like just the ones that you get at the OB. Like, you have to be able to see it in 3D to even know what I mean. But if I could recommend one thing, it's to get a 3D ultrasound, because it just like, it makes you just feel even that much more in love with your little baby. Hello.
Hi.
Hey. Sorry, Zach called and interrupted, but yeah, oh, it's starting to rain. It's supposed to storm. There's like a huge hurricane coming through. I think it already went through Florida, but we're supposed to get a ton of rainfall here in South Carolina. So yeah, but I don't know if it's actually gonna storm or if it's just gonna rain. We'll see. Anyway, okay, back on track. So other thing I want to talk about was my appointments in the 3rd trimester. They have been pretty much like the same as 2nd trimester, I guess. Basically just listening to baby boy's heartbeat, measuring my belly, and then just like talking through kind of what our plan of action is. I don't really have a birth plan per se. I know a lot of people like have these like elaborate typed out birth plans. I have specific things that I'm like hoping will happen, but I'm really trying to go into it with the mindset of like, as long as I'm healthy and baby boy's healthy, that's all I care about. So whatever needs to happen for that to happen is like what I'm gonna be okay with. So yeah, that's kind of it though. Appointments have been really simple, and we've done like a couple extra ultrasounds. I don't know if I mentioned this in any other video, but I did have a marginal cord insertion on my placenta, which can be correlated with growth restriction because the baby's not getting like full blood flow and full nutrients, because essentially your cord is supposed to be in the middle of your placenta, and mine's on the side. So yeah, but that has not been an issue for baby boy. He is growing honestly on the bigger side than anything, so that was a really big blessing. But we already kind of had these growth scans planned when they discovered the marginal cord insertion, so I've been going for some extra ultrasounds just to monitor that. But really, he's been growing great, so we've had no worries there. I wanted to touch on, I think there's some questions on this too, but I'll go ahead and touch on my preparation for labor and kind of what I'm doing there. As far as kind of mental prep, I have already kind of made like a birth playlist. I'm really praying and hoping that I can go into labor on my own, hopefully this week, but we will see. If I'm gonna be laboring at home, I hope that I can labor at home for a good while before going to the hospital. And if I'm gonna be laboring at home, I wanted to just have like a good calming playlist of like some of my favorite worship songs and things like that, you know, for that situation. But obviously, you know, things can change and I might be getting induced or who knows. So I might not even labor at home at all, but I hope that I get to, and if I do, then I wanted to go ahead and have that birth playlist. I really just, like I said, been trying to make myself aware of all the things that can happen in birth, but go into it with a very positive mindset and kind of no expectations. That's really kind of where my brain's at with all of it. I don't want to expect the best. I don't want to expect the worst. I just don't want to have any expectations. I just want to go in, whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen, and just trust my body, trust God, and obviously trust the nurses, doctors, all of that. So yeah, that's really mentally and emotionally, I guess, how I'm preparing. And obviously I've been doing some prep, like the raspberry leaf tea. I've been doing dates. I've been eating dates since like 30 weeks. I've been bouncing on the ball and doing circles every night, hip circles every night, and like little exercises and stuff like lunges and just different exercises with the ball to prepare for labor and make sure the baby's in good position for labor. I've been walking a lot more lately. I've just been like whatever about the heat. I know walking is really good for like not inducing labor, but getting baby in the right position for labor, getting him to engage in the pelvis and things to kind of get things going. So I've been trying to walk a lot more lately too. Eating pineapple a little bit. But that's about it for like prepping for labor. I really am just, like I said, going into it with as much of a positive mindset as I can have, and just trusting, you know, God's already got it all planned out. So, you know, just trying to go into it with the best mindset that I can. Okay, now we're gonna go into the questions that you guys asked over on Instagram. All right, let's see, where should we start? Also, I know the lighting is changing because it's raining now, so sorry for that. Okay, someone said recommendations for someone looking to get pregnant for the first time / what to expect. So I do not have any good recommendations as far as like how to get pregnant or trying or anything like that, other than tracking your ovulation in whatever form that means to you, whether that's taking your temperature, using an app, things like that. I definitely think that's a good place to start. Or I know they have ovulation strips and things like that. So definitely knowing, you know, when your fertile window is super important. But like I said, I can't really speak on that because Zach and I were not like intentionally tracking those things when we got pregnant. But yeah, as far as like what to expect with getting pregnant for the first time, if you do get a positive test and you are pregnant, in the beginning, you're probably gonna find out before you can even go to the OB and like confirm it, because they don't see you until normally like 8 weeks to do an ultrasound to confirm it. So just expect in the beginning a lot of waiting and a lot of like nerves and anxiety, because it's like the most surreal thing to find out that you're pregnant. Just be ready for that. Be ready to kind of be waiting to kind of confirm the pregnancy and everything, because I know that was like one of the longest windows of my pregnancy, was waiting to go into the OB and like actually get my first ultrasound. Okay, someone asked, what is your biggest fear right now? Asking because I'm afraid of postpartum depression and giving birth. I don't know if I would necessarily say that I have a lot of fear. I've been trying to switch my mindset about any anxieties or fears that I do have, and not putting the label of fear and anxiety on it, and just accept it as like just the unknown. It's not necessarily that I'm like fearful of the unknown. It's just the fact that there is the unknown of how birth will go and how postpartum will go and how everything will be. Like there's just so much I don't know. So just giving myself grace in that. I don't know if you're religious at all, but for me, like just trusting in God's plan with all of it, and trusting that this is like, he's got me and he's gonna walk with me through this whole experience. So yeah, just knowing that I'm going into a bunch of unknowns, giving myself grace in that. And yeah, I don't know, I'm just, whatever will be. So I'm really just trying to not overthink it and be worried about it or fearful of it, because it is what it is, you know, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. But yeah, so I don't know if I have like a biggest fear per se right now. I would just say it's all up in the air and all so unknown to me right now that I don't know, I'm just kind of going with it, and obviously hoping for the best in all of the unknown. Someone else said, have you had any Braxton Hicks, and if so, what were they like? Yes, that is another thing I meant to touch on, is my contractions and kind of like what my body's been going through. So I definitely have been experiencing Braxton Hicks literally since second trimester, but these past few weeks they've gotten a lot more intense and been more kind of like crampy feelings, like period cramp feelings. And so yeah, and I definitely think like my body is progressing, doing what it's supposed to do. I'm already dilated and effaced based on my last check with the OB. So yeah, I definitely know that my body is doing what it is supposed to do and preparing itself to give birth. But Braxton Hicks is honestly such a funny feeling because you don't feel necessarily pain. At least I didn't feel any pain with my Braxton Hicks most of my pregnancy. I only really felt tightening in my abdomen, and it's just like no other thing that you can explain unless you've experienced it. Like, if you press on your stomach, it literally feels super solid, like literally solid as a rock. And any other time you're pressing on your stomach, you notice that there's like a little bit more like give. Mine only would last like maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute, and then they just kind of dissipate. But now they're definitely picking up and becoming a little more consistent and seem to be a little bit more purposeful, I guess, and intentional. So yeah, but I've definitely been experiencing them, and it's not like a weird scary feeling at all. It's just like a, oh, like I can tell my stomach is tighter than just normal. What is something that's not talked about enough when it comes to pregnancy? I would say I guess like, I don't know, I was talking to Zach about this last night, and I think it's just crazy that we go through, like when you're pregnant, you're going through so much change mentally, emotionally, physically. You're literally growing a human, and like you still have to go about your day like normal. You have to go to work like normal. You have to operate like a normal human being, like everybody else around you, but you're growing organs. Like you're literally growing a human being, and you're expected to just keep on operating as normal. And I just think that is the craziest thing. Like I just think pregnant women deserve so much more credit and grace and all that. Even if you have a great pregnancy, like I said, like my pregnancy, I feel like I have been so blessed to have a really like great easy pregnancy, but like some women really struggle with pregnancy and have like the hardest time. And I just think regardless of what your experience is with pregnancy, like we're all doing the same thing. We're all growing a human. And I think it is just crazy that there's not more, like, I don't think people understand that enough, especially people that have never experienced it. And I just think it's not talked about enough. Like, I don't know. I just think it's kind of this, oh, well, it's just natural. And like nobody can tell what you're going through from the outside, obviously, other than telling that you're just getting bigger. But I just think it's wild to me that people just expect you to just keep on operating at the same level you were before you were pregnant. I'm like, especially now, I'm like, I am like, my energy levels and everything are just really tapping out. So yeah, but I'm trying to like keep up with how I've been going about things, going about business, but it is definitely challenging. So yeah, I just think that's one thing that people just don't get enough credit for. Someone else said any anxiety leading up to the delivery. I already touched on this, but I'm really just trying to, you know, not really label it as anything. Just know that there's a bunch of unknowns that I'm stepping into as far as delivery goes, and just trusting God's plan, trusting my body, trusting this baby, and just knowing that, you know, whatever is gonna happen is gonna happen, and just being accepting of that and knowing that there's so much out of my control, which is hard. You know, it's definitely easier said than done, as far as, you know, not being anxious and fearful and everything going into it. But I really am just trying to, you know, be realistic about my expectations, and then just understand that there's just a lot that's gonna happen that I don't know and I have no control over. So just trusting God in the process and trusting my body to do what it's supposed to do. Okay, the rest of the questions are basically things I've already touched on, like how I'm feeling about life changes, what the third trimester has been like, yeah, so I feel like I've already kind of touched on most of this stuff. So hopefully if you asked a question that I didn't answer specifically, I answered it at the beginning of this video, but I think I'm going to go ahead and end off this video here. I know it's getting kind of long, and I just want to thank you guys so much for sticking around, subscribing, watching all my videos throughout this entire pregnancy. It's been so sweet to share this journey with you guys. And next time you see me, I will be with our sweet little baby boy, and I cannot wait to share him with you guys. I am not in any way planning to make my entire social media about him, obviously. I still want to keep all my stuff focused on me, because that's what the original intent was behind my YouTube channel and like any of my social media. So he will of course be included in the content, but it just won't be focused all around him. Obviously in the beginning, I think I will share, you know, what I'm comfortable with sharing and just figure it out from there. But I cannot wait for this new mom journey and to share it all with you guys. So thank you so much for sticking around. Like I said, I am just so thankful for this community that I have here. And it's crazy to think that I have been doing YouTube since college, and through my marriage era, my pregnancy era, and now we're going into the mom era on here, and it is just so fun to be able to kind of capture and document all these different phases of my life. And I just thank you guys so much for sticking around. And if you haven't already, subscribe so that you don't miss the birth vlog and everything coming up. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video.